Alright, so let's take off the pink glasses for a second. Let's step away from the overly positive reviews and think straight for a second. So first things first, of course, I'm not taking any jabs at DJI. I think this will be a good product for some people. I just don't think it will fit my own needs. My use case is kind of different because I use these action cameras a lot to fly with them on my FPV quads. That's the probably 90% of what I do with my action cameras is fly them on my drones. So for that I have a very specific use case, which of course doesn't correspond to everyone else's use case. So of course to some people this could be a great camera, and I was really hoping that it will fit my own needs as well. Because of that form factor that looks really intriguing, but unfortunately I just see a lot of shortcomings that just made me not push that buy button yesterday. Although I was really contemplating doing that, I spent a lot of time watching other people's reviews, and since I don't have the camera, my best bet was to watch as many videos as possible so I can form my own opinion about the things that I need to know for my own use case. And like I said, I was just not that impressed, and there are a few things that I want to mention which you might have missed, which are kind of like a deal breaker for me. So first things first, because of that modularity, it's very similar to this Insta360 1R, but it has the battery built in, so you don't have to remove it like here. You can just use those two parts, and the best thing is that you can separate them and only use this part, for example, where you have the lens, but you have the screen on the back on this Action 2 camera. So you can use this part only. However, that only gives you a usable battery life of about 30 minutes. And if you want to use it for longer, you need to connect it to the other part of the camera like so, and then you'll have a longer battery life together with some more memory. Speaking about the memory, you only have an SD card slot on this separate section and not on the main section of the camera, which is a huge bummer because it has a built-in memory of 32 gigabytes. But unfortunately, the usable memory is not 32 gigabytes. It's only about 22 gigabytes, which is definitely something that is a deal breaker for me. If you're shooting a lot with this camera, which I personally would do if I had it, you will fill up that memory very quickly. And for that, you will need to transfer your footage to the SD card by connecting it to the other section of the camera and using the app to transfer the footage so you can format the main body of the camera and just start recording once again if you haven't depleted the battery life, which is 30 minutes. So as you can see, it's not ideal, and it doesn't give you a lot of freedom because you're limited in terms of the battery life or the memory. Something else which I noticed while watching other people's reviews is that unfortunately this camera does not offer interchangeable lenses, which is huge if you plan to fly with it on your FPV drone, for example. So unlike this Insta360, which offers interchangeable lenses, or you can use this for actually swapping your ND filters, the Action 2 is solid, one piece, which unfortunately if you break, you're done. You have to send it back to DJI so they can repair it. And as we saw in Potato Jet's video, crashing this camera is inevitable if you fly FPV with it, and crashing it most likely will result in a broken lens or something broken on the camera which you cannot repair yourself. You have to send it back to DJI. So definitely not ideal for FPV, and something that I definitely don't like. Going to the next thing which I noticed is that the stabilization, while it looks okay, it's not perfect, and there's some really weird stutters and jitters when flying close to the ground. It kind of looks weird, like it's catching up to the footage sometimes, very similar to what GoPro offers with their hyper smooth stabilization. Sometimes it's just not ideal. However, on GoPro we do have Real Steady that can fix that issue. Here we don't have any other third-party stabilization software which can fix those stutters or jitters, and ultimately it will leave you with some bad looking image. And although it could be fine for some slower, more relaxed footage, it is an action camera after all. So if you are shooting something a little bit more fast paced, and especially with your drone, it's not going to be ideal. So for me, again, kind of like a deal breaker, something that I just don't like that much. And finally, I saw some people already talking about overheating issues. And while this has also been a topic of discussion for the GoPro Hero 10 Black, which is my main camera that I use on my FPV drones, I've never had issues on my GoPro. However, I already saw a lot of people talking about overheating issues because of that smaller form factor. There is just not too much cooling on this camera, meaning that it will overheat every now and then. You might lose your footage, or you might be thinking that the camera is recording while it's really not recording. So I don't know, does it really matter that the camera is that portable and lightweight and weighs only 57 grams if it's not providing you enough of positive things that you can rely on? That's the question. For me, when it comes to the weight, I have grown really accustomed to the weight of the GoPro Hero 10 Black, so I don't find it to be a problem anymore. And if I really need something very, very light, I can use this, the Insta360 Go 2. So for me, it's kind of in the middle. The Action 2 sits right in the middle between the heavy GoPro Hero 10 or 9 and the very lightweight Insta360 Go 2. And with all of those drawbacks, I just don't feel like it's a necessary purchase for me. Yes, it would have been nice to have it on the channel so I can demonstrate some of these things, but after watching these reviews from other creators, I just don't see the appeal that much anymore. So I decided to not purchase it myself. However, I will list some of the videos that I found really useful and informative in the description below if you want to know more about this camera and want to see someone who actually has this camera in their hands. But with that being said, I hope this video has been helpful to illustrate some of the potential problems that might be a deal breaker for you, because they certainly are a deal breaker for me. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. This is Mike from Drone Supremacy. Stay tuned because I have some really interesting videos coming on the channel very, very soon. I'll catch you later, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.